America is going to face one of its most crucial presidential election in coming November 2024. With regard to the current international political scenario, this presidential election has got a lot of significance. Today, we have a very eminent guest with us, a good businessman, a good entrepreneur. Also, he was a former advisory and commissioner to the President George Bush during 2004 to 2007 regarding the Asian American and Pacific Islanders. He's also a Republican Party follower. He will share his thoughts regarding the current political scenario in America. Sri Joseph Melookkaran, hearty welcome to this program.
Thank you for having me.
Before going into details regarding the political scenario in America, our viewers is very much eager to know much more about the election process in America. We hear a lot about the swing states and all. So, can you share details regarding the election process regarding the presidential election in America?
Yeah, it is. Presidential election in the United States is a little bit confusing if you don't know the electoral college and how it is, the dynamics works and some of the individual nuances, how national polls say something and something else, swing states say something. So there are 538 electoral votes. Electoral votes are based on 2 senators for each state and the number of congressional seats. Say, for example, Kansas, we have 6 electoral votes that consists of 2 Senate seats and 4 congressional seats. So that is 6 for Kansas. Like that, other states have. California, for example, they have only 2 senators, but they have 52 congressional seats. And Texas has got 40. So these are the numbers that, so if you get 270 electoral votes, you win. So currently, what is happening is that based on the latest poll, there was some polls from after August 18th. There is an Inside Advantage poll, there is an Emerson poll, and 2 days ago, Wall Street Journal poll. I give more credence to Wall Street Journal poll, but all 3, Kamala Harris and Trump are tied in the national polls. I think the Wall Street Journal poll has got 1% advantage for Kamala Harris. But the interesting thing is that in the Wall Street Journal poll, the 5 swing states, it has Trump in the lead. And that is what is going to determine. So for example, I would say Pennsylvania has got 19 electoral votes, Michigan has got 15, Arizona has got 11, 9 for Nevada. So between that, there's about 54 votes. That's as good as California, the number of electoral ballots. So that can swing the votes. So I have a friend who used to be a fellow commissioner and the chairman of our commission, and we are very close. We talk all the time, and he's the deputy chair for the Trump campaign in his states. According to him, he says that as it stands now, Trump can get around 300 electoral votes. That means that Kamala Harris will be only 230 or something like that, around that. So that is a significant difference. But interesting thing is that in the national poll, Kamala Harris can be 2 or 3% up. I mean, Hillary Clinton was 7 point up at this time at this stage of campaign when she ran against Trump in 2016, but she still lost. So the dynamics are very confusing. But once you understand the electoral college status and the swing states, I think it makes sense that, how the election is not unlike, it's not like India or other places. There is a uniqueness to US election to ensure that there is a better representation at the center.
So you're saying that we cannot blindly believe these poll surveys and all?
Yes. So what is happening is that because the national lead is more, and it gives the perception that Kamala Harris is leading, which is what they want people to believe. 80% of the media is with the Democratic Party, and they want her to be projected as the leading candidate. But they tend to underplay what is happening in the swing states. So they don't give that importance. I'm pretty sure this Wall Street Journal poll, the lead for Trump in the swing states, they will not report it, but they will report the national poll.
So the same thing happened in 2016 also. They projected Hillary Clinton as a winner. They created a fake image. But at the end, we all know that Trump became the president. So what happened in 2016? Why these poll surveys miserably failed at that time?
It is not the failure. It was the smartness of the Trump campaign. What he did was that he concentrated on Michigan, Pennsylvania. These are the two states. Arizona was always with the Republican Party until last time. But Michigan and Pennsylvania, he knew that he needs to turn around those two states. And he had a massive get out to vote effort in those two states. So that's what happened. Yeah, it was very strategic, very smart move by Trump. So it's not a mistake, it is calculated, it's strategic.
With regard to Donald Trump, when a news come before us regarding about Donald Trump, up to an extent we can forecast what will be the opinion of the mainstream media. From 2016 up to now, Trump is getting attacked by the mainstream media and his political opponents aggressively. So they are attacking the Trump as a person, or they are attacking his political stand. What do you think?
I think one of the main difference for Trump compared to all other candidates, and everybody comes through a channel of politics. They go to the leadership in a certain way. But Trump is an outsider. He's still an outsider. He came and people cannot contain him. And he is not answerable to anybody. And a lot of people come to the leadership with obligations to people, and they have to satisfy this. It's a balancing act. Trump, it is not. There is no balancing act. Whatever he believes, and he gets things done. He wants to solve the problems. So from that point of view, there is always an inherent distrust of that type of person. Of course, he is not a liberal, so the liberal media hates him. And he is a tough decision maker. It could be for or against them. It's very unpredictable. They don't like that. They want more predictability. And so they can kind of, So these are the things that made him different. And people don't want totally different, unpredictable people or unpredictable person. They want people who are more predictable in their decision-making and diplomacy and everything. So it's not like that. It cannot be contained.
I think they don't want a tough guy. Right?
Yes, absolutely. That's what the reason is. Okay. And the same way, a lot of people in other countries also, they don't want a tough guy. That being said, a lot of countries, who want safety and security, they want a tough American leadership.
The 2020 election result went into a lot of controversies. We knew that when the election result came, at that night, both sides, from the Trump camp and also the Biden camp, came before the people, and they are saying that they has got the victory and all. But the things got changed. Do you think what happened during the 2020 election result? We know that election came after just during the COVID time and all. So lot of conspiracy theories around regarding the election result. What actually happened at that time?
I think the conspiracy theories, they were breeding because there were a lot of confusion. Although there is not 100% proof of what happened and stuff like that, I don't want to get into the conspiracy part of it. But there were a lot of mistakes were made. There were a lot of confusion. Some are genuine because of the COVID context. A lot of things were not possible in the normal election cycle. So there were a lot of ballots issued, mail-in ballots, and millions of ballots were stuffed in. Not even, it was just, sometimes they were just dropping in the box. And if you look at the number of votes cast, it was significantly higher than other elections. So there were opportunities for fraud, but the system is that, if you get a ballot with a signature or a thumb impression, prima facie, you have to take that as a valid vote for either Trump or Biden. So that's how it is counted and certified. And after that, there was some sampling of the ballots, mail-in ballots, and auditors looked at and verified the citizenship and stuff like that. I think one audit that I read is that 25% were fraud. So it was not, they couldn't validate that person as a citizen. So there were some irregularities done, but again, based on each state's election law, it was done right and they certified. So there were a lot of things happened, and it may not be repeated another time, but Republican Party should be very careful this election to make sure that there is proper transparency exist during the election day, and also when they how the mail-in ballots are issued, how it is counted, and how it is accounted for.
So the 2020 scenario is also same on 2024 also. So in 2024, in the coming election too, do you fear that any chances of election fraud will repeat?
I think that people are using the system, and some people may be using fraudulent documents or fraudulent mail-in ballots. But without proof, we cannot say. But the Republican Party is well aware this time as to what they need to do. And what I read is that they have taken a lot of logical steps to make sure that this ballot issuing process, ballot receiving process, depositing of the ballots in the box, and the counting of those ballots, that's where the opportunities for errors or fraud exist. And to avoid those, the process given opportunities for such fraud, they are conscious about it. They're making adjustments to make sure that transparency is maintained.
We know that America is a country which is known for its good moral values and also for its good Christian faith. You are keenly watching the American politics for a lot of years. Do you think that there is an increase in the influence of the pro-left ideology in the American politics as well as in the American society? The increase in the pro-left ideology or its influence, what impact it could make in the American politics and also in the American society?
I think the left-leaning groups, the progressives, the liberals, they have certain areas carved out. Academia, a lot of the academia, whether it's Ivy League, big schools, big colleges, and they're all kind of support this liberal ideology and progressive move, and that permeates into the students also. So you can see that is happening. And also the media, of course, media is very liberal in general. So they are also promoting that. The end result is that, they are changing the outlook in the educational system and the priorities in the policy making and stuff like that is being influenced, which is not for good outcome. So I think they are making a mistake, and this needs to be curtailed, and because otherwise we will have a generation of youngsters, with ultra-left ideology and kind of socialism type of thinking, and the country will not progress. Socialism and communism, and we have tried. A lot of isms were tried. I recently read an example of how to explain all the isms. It says that socialism, if you have two cows, you give one cow to the next door neighbor, so he also can have. So it is equality is created. And communism, if you have two cows, you get the milk and give the milk to the government, and government decides what, it will be who will get the milk. And capitalism, if you have two cows, sell one cow and buy a bull and regenerate, so it's the isms. There is a difference in outcome, with all these isms. There's a progressive and secular beliefs, has some disadvantages, and in the outcome, it may not be good for the society.
When you observe the speeches of Donald Trump, a lot of times he firmly stands on the Christian faith and a Christian value. So what do you think? What is the reason behind his strong stand on Christian faith and Christian values? He has told that he will bring back Christianity to America and all. Similar statements he has made several times. So what's the reason behind his strong stand on the Christian faith?
He believes that, the progressive media want to get God out of public schools, public places, and they are against every institutionalized religion. So he understands the importance of religion, of faith in person's life. So that's why he is supporting the religious institutions. In fact, one of the things he mentioned is that if he becomes the president, one of the things he will do is that he want to have a UN convention to end the persecution of religious rights. So that is one of the things that he cannot understand why people hate 10 commandments in a parochial school. If they put in, what is the problem with that? There is nothing religious about it. It is all moral values. So there are a lot of things that he believes that are the pillars of the good moral life, and those are to be instituted. They have to stay like that. That's what he believes. Nobody else projects that. And as from his position as a president, as a candidate, he wants to project that so people understand and satisfy that there is somebody who look after the threats from progressives against the religion.
We know that the Indian community usually stands with the Democratic Party. What is the reason you are following the Republican Party ideology? And
I think generally Indians as well as other immigrants, when they come, they identify with the Democratic Party. Then once they understand more about the party and what they stand for, they go to Republican, and most of them are independents. Most of them vote for Democrats. That is what is normally done. But part of the problem is Republican Party's problem too. Republican Party has got a wing within Republican Party that are very right-wing conservative. Then the churchgoers who think that foreigners are bad for, people of color. I mean, the same group is there in Democratic Party. Far left, there is a group who are even violent about the things that they believe. So both parties have those wings. But Indian Americans as well as some of the Asian Americans, they see that Republican Party dominated by some of the people who say things and without, so that's what is an aversion for Indian Americans. I understand that, but at the same time, they don't understand that, on the left, it's the same thing. So I hope that, they look more into each party's, broader view. And in my opinion, for the family values and the United States being a country made of ideas and not based on religion or place, I think Republican Party is the place to be. And I think they see that, in that perspective and make the right decision for the next election.
With regard to the Democratic Party presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, we all know that she's a strong advocate of for the abortion, and also she supports the same-sex marriage and all. So how you rate the pro-liberal attitude of the Kamala Harris? So how much it could affect the moral base of the American society?
Kamala Harris, is pro-abortion. Everybody knows that. Abortion on demand, that's what she stands for. What Trump has done is that, he left everything to the state. If you look at the June 2022 reversal of the Supreme Court decision of the Roe versus Wade, I mean, the protecting life is the state's responsibility, state's prerogative. So Roe versus Wade, that exceeded that authority. So simply Supreme Court reversed that and let the states decide. And Trump also says that let the states decide about it. That is his position. Then LGBTQ, all those things, there are different interest groups, and everybody should be respected, loved. That is what Christ teaches. So you cannot discriminate any of these groups. But do you want all these small splinter groups control the entire agenda? No. But that's what Trump says, that he has no problem with the LGBTQ or any minority groups or diversity groups. He has no problem with that. What he says that they should not control the agenda. I think I think the first thing is that USA is USA first, and U.S. economies should be strong, secure the border, and bring economic progress and make the country great. That's his policy. So nobody should steal that and make it about something else other than that.
The 2024, the presidential election has witnessed a lot of critical moments. For example, the assassination attempt against the Donald Trump, also the coronation of the Kamala Harris. Do you think that the coming of the Kamala Harris as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party has reduced the momentum of Donald Trump with regard to the presidential race? Because during the months of April, May, June, and all, there was a feeling that the race is a one-sided. Surely Donald Trump is going to win. So, do you feel that the momentum of the Donald Trump has got reduced due to the coronation of the Kamala Harris?
If you look back 2020 election, when they compared Trump with Biden and Trump with Kamala Harris as the top of the ticket, Kamala Harris would have lost some 3 to 4 points more than Biden. So that was that. Even after that, she never got any traction either with the media or within the Democratic Party. Now, with the miserable debate of Biden, and Democratic Party had no choice but to axe him. So when you do that, there are two other problems. One, the campaign war chest. They accumulated so much money, millions and millions of dollars in the coffers. And that goes to Biden-Harris ticket. If somebody else come other than Kamala Harris, then it will be a problem. It will be a lot of legal challenge and stuff like that. And the other problem is that if we bring a new top of the ticket, we don't know. They don't know that person, how they will behave, and it's not tested, So there is an uncertainty from that point of view. So the Democratic Party, mostly Bill Clinton, I think Barack Obama came later, but he was also very much in that because all the people in the administration, key people, are Obama's people. So they all decided that the best thing is to have a coronation of Kamala Harris. Knowing her weakness, they want to have a very carefully choreographed coronation. That's exactly what happened. And even without that, anytime Democratic Party or Republican Party have a convention, you will have a convention boost of about 5 to 6 points anyway. So that is very natural. And that is the honeymoon period and evaporates just like that in 2 weeks. You started already seeing that. Kamala Harris, that bump is kind of plateaued and now started coming back. After CNN interview, it's even coming down further. So those things, but it is a very carefully choreographed coronation. And they will continue to do that. 80% of the media, these same media criticized Kamala Harris when she was the VP on many, many issues. And they are all coming as the savior against the Trump because they don't want Trump. They will do anything to have anybody but Trump.
Do you think that whether it is Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, they are both controlled by a team whose mind is filled with a pro-left ideology? I am asking this question because the media is creating a image. Already the American people know they are facing a lot of economic crisis. Inflation is on the rise. But the reason behind that problem is Joe Biden. Kamala Harris has got nothing to do with these problems. The media is creating that kind of image. Do you think that image could influence the voters in US?
In fact, the people don't differentiate between Kamala Harris and Biden-Harris administration's policies. They think that policies will be pretty much the same. There is not even a single thing that she can change because she is controlled from behind by Obama people. And even during the Obama and Bernie Sanders people, the coronation of Joe Biden was conditional. All the party bigwigs came together and had the coronation of Joe Biden. He, by his own effort, was not the nominee. A lot of it is other people made him the nominee. But you have Bernie Sanders people, you have Obama people, they pulled all the strings. They put the policies forward. And the same thing will happen during the Kamala Harris. And she is just the figurehead, and it will be controlled by the people.
So they are all puppets.
Yes.
Controlled by
absolutely no doubt about it. Even during the Biden time, Biden probably doesn't even know half of the things that is happening. It was all done behind the scenes. and he cannot figure out where he's going the entire day anyway.
We know that when we look into the international politics, the crisis is happening across the Middle East. There is a fear that Iran is going to attack Israel. Russia-Ukraine war is going on. China is getting more stronger and stronger. So in this context, can you share the importance regarding the appointment of a president like Trump, like a tough guy? So a tough guy like a person should come as a president of America. So can you share its importance?
If you look at the administration of Trump, on the geopolitical side, there was not a whole lot of risk. Even with Trump going against China on tariffs and stuff like that, and North Korea, it was relatively peaceful. Geopolitical risk was very low. Turn the page to Biden-Harris administration. Geopolitical risk is probably one of the biggest risks, and it has never been that serious at that high level in the last 30 years. So it is that much. And if you look at the Chinese Communist Party is most persistent and consequential risk for the United States. Of course, Russia is fighting, invading Ukraine, all these things aside, the biggest enemy that we should be afraid of is China. They are the ones who are stealing American technology. They are the ones who are flooding American markets with the goods produced. And that is not only affecting United States, taking away the manufacturing jobs. It is also affecting India and other countries because they, through the subsidies to these companies, state-owned enterprises, they are exporting everywhere the products that they used to claim that in industrial engineering, they manufacture every product that has got a name. They make it. I mean, even in India, a lot of things are coming from China. People order from Amazon, it's made in China. So it is not only United States, but the entire world is suffering from that. And this will come to a culmination at some point in the future. But the only thing that can prevent is that, somebody tough who China will think twice before they take any action. So when Trump was there, it was very peaceful. Same thing will happen. The existing problems that is happening, he will find a way to solve the problem because he is the problem solver. And he has got a tough negotiating power and also some uniqueness to the way he negotiates. He finds solution for that. I mean, for example, moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That was a strong action. At that time, I was in Israel at that time. I was amazed. A lot of U.S. presidents balked at it. They were afraid of making that kind of decision. He didn't have any problem. And before that, Soleimani was under the radar for a couple of times and nothing happened. Everybody was afraid to touch it. And he had a 30-second decision, take him out. It was quick. Nothing happened. So those are the executive skills that he brings. And other countries know that because they will be very careful and watching how he makes the decision. Now they already know how he makes the decision and they will think twice before they act.
So you're saying that his business skill has given him a lot of advantage during his presidentialship.
Absolutely. Right? He is not thinking like a politician. Politicians think about, if I do this, how my people will think about it, how the opposition will, all these kind of debate about, and between advisors and thinking what. I mean, for him, it is very transactional. It is very business-like. What is the outcome? Whether that outcome is America First policy that he is projecting, and whether that will bring economic help. And he doesn't care about whether China is going to equal tariff on the other side or whatever it is. I mean, he makes that decision and make it work. Sometimes it is a shock treatment, and people don't expect that kind of approach. And people criticize in the media, but it happens, and he has got a way of making it happen.
There is a serious war going on in Middle East between Israel and the terrorist group Hamas. Middle East is actually burning. Iran can attack Israel at any time. Also, there is a lot of pro-Hamas campaign or like a protest is going on across the American universities, which started on 2024 May. So the Israel-Hamas war has got any influence in the current presidential election in America?
For quite a long time, academia had been influenced by through some kind of Middle East countries. They are heavy donors to a lot of the universities, and a lot of these professors, a lot of research assistance given by from some certain funding to the universities come the sources over there. And when they do that, and that will manipulate the thinking level of this research and research outcomes. Some of these research are very basic research about the societies in the Middle East, approach to Israel, and something to do with that. So this is the way they are actually affecting how the students think. So there is some influence like that, and a lot of them are kind of rewriting the actual history, and their history, what they know, what they understand, what they stand for is a little bit biased. So there is some influence for why these students are protesting and what they are protesting, but a lot of them don't really understand the basic facts.
Okay. So right from the 2016 presidential election, as far as I know, illegal immigration was a main point of discussion during the presidential debate and all. In 2016, Trump promised about a wall across the Mexican border and all. But during the administration of the Biden, we know that a lot of illegal immigrants are coming to America, and discussion is going on, and Trump is making a lot of allegations against the Biden administration regarding that. How the immigration issue could influence the voting decision of the American people in the current election?
The immigration is probably the number one issue. About 68 to 70% of the people, they don't like what they see. What Kamala Harris and Biden-Harris administration is doing. During the Trump time, the migration south of the border was much less. He couldn't complete the entire border. Part of it is to be blamed on Republicans themselves. The first term they could have, but the speaker did not allow that full funding or something like that. So, but still, from the enforcement point of view and remain in Mexico, some of these policies, the immigration significantly slowed to very, very insignificant number. But the moment Biden took over, that was a free pass that was advertised entire world. Okay. Now, for the last 12, 16 months, people are coming from all over the world, from China, from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Venezuela, all these places people are coming. And these people are coming paying $7,000 to $9,000 to the mafia groups, to transport them from the country of origin to the border. So it is a business. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars. And not only that, that is one aspect of it. Second one is that, they're bringing a lot of drugs. Through this crowd, they are sending drugs, especially fentanyl, that is a synthetic drug that causes death of a lot of Americans. Recently, I visited the Drug Enforcement Agency, and they had the pictures of all the people died last year on the wall, about 110,000 of them. They said that in 2022, it was only a little over the 60,000. Now that is almost doubled. And of all the people died, about 70% of them are between 14 years and 24 years. It's so sad. It's very heartbreaking to see that, And these illegal drugs came because of the lack of real enforcement. So the best example of a good judicial system is that, secure the border, enforce the law, and prosecute the criminals. If you cannot do that, you don't have a good judicial system. You look at it in some of the cities, and through the defunding of the police, there is all kinds of mayhem happening. And some of the cities are becoming crime capital of the world. It is not good, and people are concerned about it. Safety of the neighborhood, secure border, these are two major issues, interrelated issues that people are concerned about. On both of these, Trump has got an edge.
Do you think that the soft stand of Democratic Party, especially the Biden administration on the illegal immigrants, has got any political agenda behind that?
Well, traditionally for decades, the immigration, according to their statistics, which is to a great extent true, these immigrants, when they become citizens, they tend to vote Democrats. But that is changing. If you look at the Hispanics, and the Hispanics, this time, Trump may get about 35% of the Hispanic votes, which will be a significant change. But Democratic Party believes that in a lot of these, that is the long-term goal. In the short term, this will give an opportunity to reduce inflation because they will do all this lower level job at a much lower cost. That will affect the inflation part. And the other one is that, in the congressional districting, it is based on the number of people, not that, whether they are citizens or not. So you get a congressional additional district, and whether it is in California or Texas, they want to make it blue. Right now, in the electoral votes, Texas is red. It goes for Republican Party. If they can make it blue, that becomes 40 or 45 electoral votes in the future if they have enough people and enough congressional districts that Democrats can win. That is the biggest threat for Republican Party, and that is not right. I think this is Democratic Party utilizing or capitalizing on some of these loopholes and making it at the detriment of the American people. We have $35 trillion worth of debt. Why you bring in illegally 9 million or 10 million people into the country, and you pay for taking care of them, put them in the hotels. When they are sick, they go to the hospital, and the hospital bills will be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And who pays it? So this is something an individual, an American citizen, personally will not be willing to do it. But the government is doing it, and the government is allowing to do it.
The unrestricted flow of illegal immigrants to America could make any impact on the result of this election?
No.
Why? Okay, because last election, the 2020, there was a thin razor margin in many states, like Arizona. I think it was a 0.2% difference between Biden and Trump. In Georgia, I think 0.3%. So is that make any difference, these illegal immigrants in this election?
I think the only thing is that in elections, there are opportunities for mail-in ballots not being correct or not being checked. So an illegal alien can vote and probably it won't be caught. It will be counted. That probability is there. But I don't think they will attempt to do it, but it is possible. There are opportunities for misuse in the system in the United States. I wish it was like Indian system. It's more without Aadhaar card or picture ID, you cannot even vote. There, in some states, it's not needed.
In the context of the 2020 election result, how alert is in 2024 the Republican Party campaign to stop the election fraud and all?
From what I know, they are very careful. They, at any cost, they want to avoid any snafu like that. That is something they were caught off guard in 2020, and they, from what I see, they are very careful about it.
Also, Kamala Harris, if she wins, she will be the first woman president of the America. Kamala Harris is a strong advocate, as I already told, a strong advocate for the abortion rights, same-sex marriage and all. The presidential candidature of the Kamala Harris, how much influence it could on the minds of the women voters in America?
I think women voters traditionally last few elections a majority were for Democratic Party. These type of issues, that tip the balance. But in terms of same-sex marriage, it is Supreme Court allowed that. So there is no issue on that. And LGBTQ in terms of tolerance and being accounted for and no discrimination against them, Trump also says the same thing. So it's not an issue, but it may be they project, but from my point of view, I don't think it is a serious issue. Abortion, again, it is given back to the states, but they will capitalize on that issue to galvanize the women, to vote against Trump. So that effort has not started in earnest yet. It will come. In next couple of months, they will be organizing that. They want to create an impression that, Republican Party is against all that. So that is their strategy. They are against LGBTQ. They are against same-sex marriage. No, same-sex marriage is not an issue. Supreme Court has already decided, so there is no issue about it. So they are making that as an issue for the people who doesn't understand these things and make a Europhobia against Republican Party. That's what they're trying to do. It's a strategy, and it will be aggressive in the next couple of months.
One of the main challenges faced by the world in the current scenario is the Islamic terrorism. We know what is happening in Europe, and all the illegal immigrants is getting pumped into the Europe, and they are creating a lot of troubles. Many terrorist attack, lone wolf attacks is happening across Europe. So with regard to the fight against Islamic terrorism, how you compare the performance of the Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
There are few groups who are terrorists, whether it is Hezbollah, the ISIS, and you deal with them, you recognize them, they are terrorists. But you cannot brand that for the entire Muslim nations. There are a lot of good Muslims. I have several friends, even my vice president was a Muslim, and I have very good friendship with him. So, but identifying and calling that certain groups, who does the terrorist activities, they must be called terrorists. That is what Democratic Party fails to do. They are very vulnerable in that area. When they say they cannot even recognize a threat, calling the name for what they are, that is bad. The Republican Party, especially Trump, if it's ISIS is a terrorist, it is a terrorist, and he destroys them. They have no place in the world, that is killing other people. So that is the kind of black and white approach that Trump brings in. That will be good. And, so.
The Russia-Ukraine war is going on. So Trump has made a statement regarding if he was the president, he could stop the Russia-Ukraine war and all. So how you think that if Trump become president, he could make any long-lasting solution in the Russia-Ukraine area with regard to the war?
I want to go back to 2014 when Russia invaded Crimea. That happened during the Obama time. Obama didn't do anything. Slapped some sanctions, and nothing serious happened. So during the Trump time came, he didn't do anything. He knew things will be different. And then Biden came and he invaded because it's a green light. They know how they're going to react, how Democratic Party is going to react, how weak they are. And when it comes to defense, building defense, strategizing defense, they're very weak. That is inherent. And Russia knows that. So this is what they did. Crimea they did during Obama, and invasion of Ukraine and rest of the place, during the Biden time. I think they should have the fear that, you cannot do anything like that, that is not consistent with the sovereignty of each country.
Trump, a lot of time he has told about the deep state and all. So my question is whether the deep state is a part of conspiracy theory or it really exists in America.
See, what I can say from what I can observe is that, and Trump, as you know, right from 2016 when he was elected, and he was dragged through the mud from the day one, that Russia hawks. And so much media time, so much commission, so much government money was spent for something they knew right from the beginning. This was a hoax. It was between Hillary Clinton campaign and Democratic Party. They cooked up that to bring down bring down Trump. And so a lot of other allegations, and then when the COVID time, all the hoopla about what is happening, and now they are admitting that, even they pressured Zuckerberg, Facebook Meta CEO, to identify the anti-COVID vaccine people and stuff like that. So during the Obama time, I know that, a lot of people were appointed to Justice Department, FBI, and all that kind of appointed, so they were people who are favorable to Democratic Party.
So they still exist in the admission?
They are still there. Some of them are gone. Some of them are And all these people were in cahoots with, bringing down Trump. From outside observation, it appears that there was something like that. I can see when you have bureaucrats, that you side with you, something like that could happen. I don't know to what extent deep state, but I think there was some influence by the appointees to bring down Trump. No doubt about it.
In Europe politics, when we analyze, we could see that in the recent years, there is a rise of right-wing politics, for example, in Italy, in Hungary, and all. So the rise of the right-wing politics has got anything to do with the American politics? It could make any influence in the American politics and all?
I don't think so, because every country in Europe, and Europe is a sick man, and every country is going through something, and no one is doing great. Germany was doing great, but now Germany with the export to China is dwindling. They are also in trouble. So every country has got an immigration problem. Every country has got some level of discrimination towards the immigrants, especially from refugees that are coming over, and that politically they disagree with. And when the economy is not very strong, you cannot accommodate that number of people as refugees and not to be affected by their own job security and welfare. That is the problem. And Europe, a lot of countries, they give welfare to, they have very good pension system and stuff like that. When you have more people coming, sharing the benefits, and their share also eventually will come down. They understand that. So that's why they are electing conservative or right-wing leaders in their countries. And probably to some extent that has affected US also. A lot of people are now realizing that, we cannot dole out money just like that, what, Biden and Kamala Harris was doing. We are in $35 trillion in debt. We cannot do the same thing that we did. We cannot, this is the same thing, socialism, and everybody will go sometime bankrupt, so it's not sustainable.
So with regard to the India, whose administration will be advantage for India, Biden or Trump?
I must say that Trump administration will be beneficial for India, because India seeks growth, India seeks progress, India seeks more trade, India seeks more partnership, strategic partnership in economic activities as well as the defense and a lot of areas. And he sees that, and he sees India as a great partner. And he doesn't have to balance his decision with what Pakistan will think, what Bangladesh will think, what Middle East will think if we support India. No, he doesn't have those issues. But Kamala Harris, she has got that issue, because she is balancing act between a lot of different interest groups. If Pakistani interest group say something, and she will have to listen to that. So that is one of the big problems with the Democratic Party. That's why I say that, I think for India, and I'm pretty sure Modi also wants Trump to be US president. I think it will be good for India. That is my opinion. I may be biased as a Republican, but that's my opinion.
So can you share details regarding the election counting process in America?
Election counting is very weird and confusing, and every state has got its own nuances. So I would say that it is high time for standardizing that, and I don't like it. I like the system here in India, and I think it is very backward in many states, and it has to be improved. The counting is a horrific torture that election night.
So let us imagine a scenario where in November 2024, Kamala Harris becomes the president of America. What impact it could do on the American society as well as on the global politics? Can you share your thoughts?
I think global politics, there is no change. I think, a lot of countries will be feeling very relieved that they can go ahead and continue their either invasion or profit out of it. And if Trump is elected, all that will stop. Everybody will be looking at what he is going to do next. So things will be totally different. So status quo continues if Kamala Harris is. I don't think she will be able to solve any problem.
So, can you also share the impact on the Christian faith and moral values?
I think, for the Christian faith as well as any faith and the protection of the churches, stopping persecution, I think, Trump is very favorable to the Trump is the right person. And Trump has already said that, he will ask the UN to have a convener session to stop the persecution of Christians around the world. And some of the things that he has initiated, and he says that he will do it. Okay. And United Nations, he has got a way of making things happen. So I think, from different perspective, I feel that for the faith community, Trump will be more beneficial and helpful, support strongly their faith and with no threats from outside.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mr. Joseph Melookkaran, for sharing your valuable thoughts regarding the American presidential election as well as the international politics. Let us hope and pray that the God will give a good president for America in the upcoming election. Thanks a lot and all wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.